Hey guys, Whitney here. Welcome to another episode of the Ash Wealth Show. We do this show every single week for those of you who've tried to invest before but just got stuck in analysis paralysis and lost all your confidence. Or maybe you've invested in a few passive deals already and have hit a ceiling of growth in your portfolio. Or maybe you just feel so overwhelmed by all the information out there that you're just plain stuck and overloaded. If this is you, whether you've invested before or you have several investments under your belt, you are in the right place. But before we dive down into our topic today, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Whitney. This is me and my crazy crew. Gosh, this photo is over a year old, but this is the exact reason why I invest in real estate, so I can spend more time traveling the world, being with my family, and making an impact in the world. But it wasn't always like this. I started off investing in 2002, and I was doing live-in flipping and house hacking, which is, by the way, an amazing way to get started in real estate and investing in general. However, I realized that I didn't have cash flow coming in on a daily basis, or at least not, on any sort of scale that would allow me to unlock my golden handcuffs from my day-to-day job. And it's when I learned how to scale my passive investments through rental real estate, note investing, and other types of investments that I was really able to blow the doors off our portfolio. And, just to kind of let you know where we are today, I've scaled my portfolio, largely in real estate, but also in notes, flipping. But none of this was possible until I was able to get my first few rental units under my belt, largely using other people's money, like bank money. And I was able to do this all while working a job, being a wife, being a mom, and taking care of my family. And I know for many of you out there, that is one of your probably top objections is like, how do I get this all done? There's no way I can do this. There's no way I could launch an investment portfolio and still, take care of my family. Trust me, you can. You see, let me just clue you in what makes what I'm going to share today so different. And it's I've discovered three things over my 18 years of investing. One, you have to have your roadmap. You have to have an investing roadmap that can get you to financial independence in a fraction of the time. And so many investors, um, so many investors that I work with come into our group, our organization, and they have no roadmap. They don't have a plan. They don't know where they're going. So anything that they do might get them there. Once you have a plan, then you got to have a formula for repeatable systems and a team to help you get there and execute those systems. And so we have a formula to help you do that. And then you have to be able to scale quickly using other people's money to accelerate and build your wealth. And that can come in the form of other people's money for real estate, note investing, fund investment, fund investment. You have to be able to accelerate your wealth build. And just, over the course of my 18 years of investing and putting this formula together, I now have 100% choice in my time. And I bet you one of the reasons why you're here is because you want to have 100% choice on how you spend your time. So let's dive into today's topic. Okay, today we're going to discuss how to play Monopoly 101, moving from single family to multifamily properties. Okay, we actually had the Monopoly national parks version, so we're not talking about how to do from single family to multifamily. We play largely on how to build campsites into cabins, but it's the same principle. Okay, how do you scale? Okay, so there's a reason why we invest in real estate in general, whether it's single family or multifamily. Okay, and that's because we can take advantage of the tax benefits of real estate. Okay, depreciation, accelerated depreciation, bonus depreciation, 1031 exchanges, and opportunity zones. And guys, we aren't going to talk about opportunity zones at all today. Okay, essentially, the reason why real estate is so lucrative or can be so lucrative for investors is that we are incentivized. Our behavior is incentivized. Okay, so by using the tax code, the government incentivizes the investor to develop and hold real estate. Okay, so when you take advantage of depreciation, accelerated depreciation, bonus depreciation, and 1031 exchanges, the IRS is essentially becoming your partner. Okay, so we have to kind of have that lens before we can dive into some of the advantages and disadvantages of the two different asset classes. So Single family. Some of the advantages is that it's really accessible for people to initially get started in real estate. Okay, you can pick up one unit at a time. Okay, or like if you're looking at 1 to 4 properties, you can pick up, one, two, three, or 4 units at a time, all on the same parcel of land, and get what we call a residential loan with it. Okay, so it's pretty accessible. The down payments are generally, pretty low for most investors to get started. A common question that I get a lot is from investors like, should I start off in single family or should I start off in multifamily? Well, it could be single, maybe doing 1 or 2 single family units is key for you, and then you just flip the switch. Maybe you need 10 or 20. Okay. Also, single family, there's multiple exits. There's a lot more ways that you can get out of the investment than you could with a multifamily property. With a single family property, you could sell it retail to another homeowner. You could turn it to another investor. You could turn it into a rental. You could do a lease option on it. You can buy multiple single family properties and sell them together as a portfolio to a more commercial investor. There's so many different ways you can exit a single family property. Also, because you're only picking up one unit at a time, it's actually a little easier to diversify your markets. Okay, so you can actually get a couple of houses in, St. Louis, and a couple in Charlotte, and then a couple in Orlando. Okay, you can start diversifying a little quicker. Now, I do suggest to people, don't get you know, attached to having a one house in every one of these markets. Okay, build up maybe a portfolio of 5, 6, 7, so you can get some property management discounts before you move on to the next market. Which gets us to the next bullet point. You can diversify your operators. So you can have like just 2 or 3 with one property manager in one market and then move to another market. Whereas if you had a larger multifamily building, say 20 units, 50 units, all of those are with one property manager. All right. And lending is rather attainable. We alluded to that just a little bit ago. The initial conventional loan that everybody's familiar with, that 30-year fixed interest rate loan, if you own your primary, you're getting a very similar loan term with an investment property. So it's kind of a glide path. It's an easy entryway into real estate. All right. Now, there are some disadvantages. With single family, the capital expenditure, CapEx as we call it, can be pretty high. You're 100% occupied or 100% vacant. And so you have one roof for one property, one water heater, one HVAC, one foundation to continue to maintain. Whereas you have a multifamily building, you get some scale to that. Your expenses tend to be higher in a single family property. This is both alluding to property management as well as the taxes that you'll pay. Okay. Your lending will be capped at 10 properties. So you're going to have different lending terms, for properties 1 through 4, 5 through 7, and then 7 through 10. But, a single investor will be capped at 10 properties. Now, here's the cool thing is that if you have a spouse, guess what? They could get 10 of their own if they can qualify individually. So this is a cool little trick. If you're going to get what we call the 10 golden tickets for loans, make sure you only have one person in the marriage or spousal arrangement that gets that qualifies for the loans. Okay, so you're not taking up multiple investment spots. But when you hit 10 loans, what do? Go commercial. You can get commercial financing. I'm actually wrapping up a commercial portfolio loan on my property. And so you can definitely take advantage of that to continue to scale. Quick little math here. Let's say you got duplexes for each one of your 10 golden tickets. That's 40 units just by using your 10 golden tickets. Okay, guys. So if if you have a partner, you guys could get 80 units before ever having to touch commercial lending. All right. It's also really hard to control growth, and this is where you got to understand the math and the economics of the asset. With single family asset, you can rehab the property and move the rents to market rent, but The rehab actually drives the value on the property. It doesn't matter if you can get $100 or $200 or $300 rent increase on the property, that doesn't drive value on the property. Okay, it's called comparable sales. So with a multifamily property, we'll go into the math of the breakdown here. But on single family properties, your property is worth what the guy next door sold his for in the last 6 months. Okay, so it's really hard to control your growth. Right now, we're seeing amazing asset prices, but it won't always be that way. Whereas on a multifamily property, I can control that value spread a little bit better. All right. Now, again, I think there is a time and place for single family. There's a time and place for multifamily. There's a time and place for both of those assets in one portfolio. So this is not about either or, which one do I need to do? This is about, when do you think you're going to hit that path in the road, that bump that's going to kick you over to multifamily. All right, so let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages to multifamily. Advantages with multifamily: you get multiple units with one purchase. Okay, be it a quadplex, you get 4 units with one purchase. Okay, or you can get a couple partners and buy a 20 unit or a 50 unit or more. You can control what we call the NOI growth, okay, the NOI, net operating income, okay? And this drives the value of the property because it's valued as a commercial business. So you can pull 3 different levers in order to drive NOI growth. You can increase income on the units, okay, move the rents closer to market rent. You can decrease the expenses on the property and save money, or you can add additional streams of income on the property. Okay, all of that will help inflate your NOI growth. And then you divide that by the cap rate, and that gives you the value of the property. All right, so you have a little bit more control there. Also, with a multifamily property, it's a lot easier to leverage a team. Now, it's not to say that you can't leverage a team with single family properties. Eventually, you're going to have to probably put a team in place, like a property manager and maybe a bookkeeper, depending on how many you get. Multifamily, generally, that's all kind of baked in from the beginning. All right. Now, there are some disadvantages to multifamily. Okay, your exits tend to be limited. Okay, you're not going to be able to do a lease option on multifamily. You're not going to be able to sell to a retail investor. You're going to be looking for another multifamily investor in order to sell to. Okay, and the exits on these properties, a single family home, you could probably sell that property in a month or less. And if it's a really hot market, maybe 60 days. On a multifamily property, you might be looking at 3, 4, 5 months before you have like just even a speedy transaction closed. It's harder to diversify your markets, okay, without a large infusion of cash. So it's you can't divide up a 50-unit building and put them in 3 different markets. You're going to have to figure out a way to scale with other people's money in order to access other markets. It's harder to get diversity of the property manager, okay, because you're going to have to put all of those units with one property manager. Lending can be more of a hurdle with multifamily, especially if you don't have the background. Now, I always ask the question, it's not like, can I do this, but how can I do this? And this is where bringing on what we call a key partner can really help you secure a loan. Also with multifamily, the tenant base is critical. If you have a 1 or 2 bad apples on your multifamily property, they can really drag down the performance of the other units, okay? And so your tenant base, keeping your tenant base high quality is imperative for the full functionality of a multifamily unit. All right, so again, it's not about either or. It's about when to make the move. When does it make sense for you to get single family? When does it make sense to get multifamily? And you might find yourself cycling with the market too. I've throughout my investing career, I've cycled with the market. Some years it was better to pick up single family. Some years it was better to pick up multifamily. And so you can go back and forth, be kind of a chameleon. But making the move, tangibly, like a good plan is if you're just like, oh, I don't know where to start. This move called the stack can be a great place to start. So you can buy your first single family property, then the next transaction, get a duplex, then the next transaction, get a quad. So your first 3 transactions yield you 7 units, all with conventional financing. You haven't even changed your loan terms. You've just figured out how to scale the unit size. Okay, it's not until transaction 4, you already have 7 units, that it's probably going to be way easier for a lender to say yes to you, because you already have 7 units under your belt, for you to grab an eightplex. Okay, and then now you're moving into commercial financing, and then now you got 15 units. It's going to make it really easy for them to say yes to you on a 16plex as the next transaction. And then, as you can see, so on and so on. Just with 6 transactions, you could have 63 units under management. Okay, so that's kind of a cool way. Another way is what I like is the leveraged approach. So you can move from single family investing into syndication or fund investing, or you can take your active income and just skip single family altogether and go into syndication or fund investing. Now, this is a totally different strategy, but it does give you access to large multifamily deals and with high quality operators and markets, in order to be able to scale your portfolio that way. Again, this is more of a leveraged approach where you're investing in an operating business as opposed to building the business on your own. Now, my challenge to you, again, I always like leaving people with challenges in these things, is when do you know is a good time? Okay, do you have a need to shift your strategy? Essentially, is your why changing? Okay, maybe you have less time for whatever reason, or you have more money coming in, and it's a good time to switch from single family to multifamily. Maybe you've maxed out your lending terms, and that's a good kind of impetus for you to switch your asset strategy. Maybe your attention is being diverted with another project and you need to move from more active investing to passive investing. Okay, or maybe you just need more leverage, more of a team in your life. Okay, so these are things that I always evaluate where I'm at on a quarterly basis. How's my time? What's my money situation? Where am I with my lending, my attention, and my leverage? What leverage do I need in my life? And that kind of helps drive my investment strategy. Okay, so I pay attention to that. Now, when is a good time to scale? Well, it's actually evaluating the same questions. Okay, so there's do you have a need, and then do you have a time? Okay, is time pressing for you? Okay, so these are just, again, some questions to help you understand when is a good time to shift from single family to multifamily, multifamily to single family, and just the advantages and disadvantages of both asset classes. Now, I hope you think this has been a time well spent so far. And if you're wanting help with this, my question to you is that, do you want help with this? We would love to help you. And we have a program called the Investor Accelerator. This accelerator is for anybody who's just starting out in real estate, doing it on the side, or maybe you're a more seasoned investor who's hit a ceiling of growth in their portfolio. And the way I like to explain it is the Investor Accelerator, it's like a 4-legged table. You have to have all 4 legs for this table to stand. If you chop any one of these legs off, or if they're missing, the table is going to wobble and, if not, fall over completely. So education, we all have to have the right education, and we give you that. Then, as we said before, you have to have the right investing roadmap. Okay, we help you create the lean investing roadmap for you, and we give you all of the tools to build the right mindset, vision, and strategy so you can continue to level up this roadmap. Okay, guys, if you have the right map, you know if you follow the wrong directions, you're going to be going a completely opposite direction. All right. Next, we help you create the right systems and build the right team to run your business with ease. And we share with you all of my tips, tools, strategies, templates, everything to help you shortcut your path to success. And lastly, you need the support to scale. Okay, so we help surround you with a community where we're doing 2 mastermind calls a month focused on business strategy and investing knowledge and growth. We help you with multiple touch points every single week so you can always have your question answered either live in a hackathon session or asynchronously in our online community. Just imagine with the education plan and systems like this, how far could you scale? Well, if you're interested to understand your next steps and where you possibly could go in your investing career, jump on over to ashwealth.com/apply and let's hop on the phone and find that out. Thank you guys for spending your most valuable resource with me, which is your time, and we'll talk very soon.